Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And today I would like to offer the elemental energy reading for the month of September 2023 for the energy of water. Water covers the signs of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, as I am not as comfortable with the zodiac as I am with the elements. We will go with the elements that birth the zodiac energies. And I have something in my eye. As this is something that I'm doing a little bit different in this third quarter, I am using the I-Ching as a starting point for our readings, and then we will go into the tarot and oracles. So I cast this before the video, and the I-Ching is a ancient Chinese divination technique, and it's a little bit more intensive at times than just the regular tarot, and the tarot can be very intense, don't get me wrong, but it's that you can read tarot every day. The recommendation with I-Ching is about once a month max, because it's looking at a broad picture. So that's how we're gonna roll. Something else I was going to mention. Oh well. With that, we'll get started with the I-Ching hexagram. We have for water this month is number 10, and it is treading conduct. Though he treads upon the tiger's tail, it does not bite him success. So the basic theme of this coming month is things may look a little iffy for you, but the overall outcome should lead to success. Again, divination is laying out the energy. What you do with it is up to you. In this hexagram, the mild stands upon the firm. The tiger does not bite the man who has trodden upon his tail, because it is joyous and responds to heaven's will. The man enjoys success. The firm central line of the upper, so this one right here, is well suited to this position. Blamelessly setting foot in the place of supreme ruler denotes glory. So basically what we're saying here is this is the month for you to actually claim your position, claim your title, claim your energy back. It doesn't matter what position you hold in your job or your home. This is the time to call back your energy, because you have that divine spark, and when you constantly are throwing it out, letting someone else basically drain you, energetic vampire if you will, then you give up your power. And this month is really saying it's time to call that back. It's time for you to stand in your authority. So we will go through each line as we go here. And the bottom line right here, it's number 1, is simple in his conduct, he goes forth no error. Don't overcomplicate things this month. Take them for face value, evaluate them at face value, and let them go. This is not a time to overthink, is what's coming through. This is really a time to tap into your intuition, look at things, and just, if initial impressions are what's going to be the most important for you. For the second line, we have the recluse treads his path peacefully. Righteous persistence brings good fortune. The term righteous persistence pops up a lot in here, and it's the people who are dedicated to their spiritual journey, to their path. When they say the recluse treads his path peacefully, you don't have to tell everybody what you got going on. And it's probably better if you just kind of do your own thing quietly, whether it's building a business, taking a meditation course, working on your spirituality. What this is saying is the best option, especially for the month of September, is work in silence. Don't tell everyone, don't tell anyone, with maybe the exception of a small group of people that you are working with, what it is you're working on. It doesn't mean that it's bad, it's just you're giving them the option to attack it verbally or emotionally, and that's really not necessary in this month of September. So our third line is the only broken line here. It's, though a man have but one eye, he still sees. Though he be lame, he can still walk. But he who treads upon the tiger's tail will get bitten disaster. The warrior undertakes things for his lord. Doesn't matter how bad things appear. It's if you take over unnecessary chances that things will not work out. It might look to the outside world that, well, you don't even see what you're doing, but you're still able to move. They may try to hinder you because of what they're doing, but you're still moving forward, taking unnecessary risks. And that's where he treads upon the tiger's tail and gets bitten. It's because the risk you took was unnecessary. There's enough going on this month. You don't need to take the risks. Just keep moving, keep going forward. Things may be a little bit more chaotic this month, and that's fine. As long as you stay focused on what your goal is, unnecessary risk this month is the one thing you don't need to take. So, our fourth line is to tread with impunity upon a tiger's tail. Breathless caution is required. Good fortune in the end. So even if you happen to make that mistake, it doesn't mean that it's going to be a disaster. That's where that breathless caution. So you make your decisions cautiously, even though there may be some very large chaos going on, but it doesn't mean it's going to end bad. There's enough things in play for you that you don't need to take the extra risk. Just keep moving forward, and even if you do happen to step on the tiger's tail, cautiously work through that situation and everything will work out. For the fifth line right here, he treads delicately. Persistence could lead to trouble. Pay attention to what you're doing is what this is saying. And they're saying this is towards the end of the month. And the way these lines are doesn't always mean that, but that's the impression I'm getting, is this is towards the end of the month. Be careful. Take time to assess what is happening. Even if it's only a minute or two because you're in a situation, take the time to examine what is happening. If you need to adjust, do it. If you need to take a pause, do it. Because just pushing forward no matter what is not going to benefit you towards the end of the month. Keep moving towards your goals, yes, but that sometimes means stopping, reassessing, taking a minute, watching things play out before you take those next steps. So for the capstone, the top one here, we have, if they watch their step or look to their conduct and heed omens, sublime good fortune will be theirs. There's going to be signs, symbols, and other versions of the universe making contact with you throughout this month. The I-Ching is saying, pay attention to the messages you're getting. Pay attention to your intuition. And it could be just like a random phrase on a sign that you're driving to work really catches your attention and for some reason sticks in your mind. Pay attention to those things. Pay attention to the numbers that pop up. The angels love to communicate through numbers with feathers as well. So pay attention to things that are coming up when you have questions. Or sometimes it may be you're in the middle of something and something blindsides you and catches your attention. Why would that be doing that? It's because the universe is giving you omens and symbols to guide you through your life. That belief of the still small voice that they talk about in a lot of Christian circles is a lot of it's your intuition. It's not just you're going to hear a little voice. Some people do. But it's that less than loud version. It doesn't always have to be bombastic. And that's something to be paying attention to in this coming month, is your instincts, your intuition, your intuitive responses to things, along those lines. So now we're going to hop over into the tarot and the oracle decks. If you're interested in any of the decks or books I'm using, there's links in the description down below. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. If you are enjoying this type of content, please hit the like. Comment, suggestions, questions, thoughts down below as well, and we will move into the tarot. There are approximately 4 weeks in September. Been doing a lot of 5s lately, so we'll just work through the 4 weeks. I read a guide or guardian per week, a message from source, and a lesson or a challenge from the tarot for each week. The guide or guardian is depending on what you need in that week. The message from source is always a positive reinforcement or a message of encouragement about the coming that week. And the lesson or challenge, it can either be a lesson of something to work on, a challenge that may be coming up, or just a little bit of advice on dealing with difficult situations. So Moving forward, our first week and first guide or guardian is the Sunshine Yellow Dragon. Helps you to help animals, serve animals, heal, respect, and understand them. With this card, it has a couple of different meanings. One could be working with like your local animal shelter, walking dogs, helping clean kennels or something. But what my guides are telling me with this one for you, water energy, is this is a time to really access your spirit animal guides. Working with those, if you haven't connected yet, this would be a good time this first week of September to really start tapping into that energy. Align with the animal that pops forward for you. There's a lot of different ways to connect, and a lot of the times if you put the intention out there, especially right before bed, you will dream about a specific animal through the night, and you'll wake up very, very convinced that you were with this animal. And it does not have to be like a dog, a cat, a horse. It could be a phoenix, it could be a dragon, it could be a sphinx. The animal guides are not bound by our terrestrial world, thankfully. So just pay attention to your dreams during this first week and really reach out to an animal guide and open yourself to the experience if you're interested in that. Because this first week of September is really, they're really showing me that this is a time to tap into that energy. So let's look at your message from Source. And I shuffle as I go, so the cards pop out as they feel led, and I read intuitively, so the messages that come through may not always be in line with what is on the card, for example, with the Sunshine Yellow Dragon. But really look into your dreams, look into your animal guides. If you already work with animal guides, maybe this week spend some time focusing on just that connection. Your lesson or challenge, or your message from Source is the Holy Grail, inner discovery, finding sacredness. You are what you seek. The Holy Grail myth is about the divine feminine connecting to the divine masculine, and some of the legends talk about immortality. Well, the immortality is the spirituality in this reference that lives within you, that divine spark, your soul. So working with this Holy Grail energy, you're tapping into the source and the connection of who you are to the connection to God, source, divine energy. You're working with your animal guides and guardians with the Sunshine Yellow Dragon to help you understand that divinity that it lives within. There are people out there that say that that's not how it is, but people inherently know a right from a wrong. It doesn't make that they're 100% right, but they have that ability from birth, and it's because we do have an inner soul spark that helps guide us. And the Holy Grail is saying this is a time this first week to really tap into that, connect into it, and grow from it. So let's look at what lesson or challenge the tarot has for you this first week. Well, that card literally just fell out of the deck. We have the Six of Swords, so we have the Six of Air. There is a little bit of escapism that is coming up in this first week for the water, and you've done a lot, you've dealt with a lot, and now this first week, it's coming on almost intensely strong. But the Six of Swords is saying, don't run away from it. Embrace what is happening. There's a friend of mine that always uses the term embrace the suck, and I'm not sure if that's a military term or whatever, but this week things might be a little bit rough. You're tapping into some intense energies, but you can handle it. Don't run away from it. And because the Six of Swords are showing me that there's an escapism aspect to what's coming right now, and you almost feel, because your emotions are kind of your thing, that you want to just get away, you don't want to deal with it. This card is saying it's really not as bad as it's being portrayed to you. Take a breath and examine what's happening before, just turning tail. So let's look at your second week of September, the guide or guardian. And we have the Golden Solar Dragon. Helps you stand in your masculine power with wisdom. Let your DNA be reprogrammed, light codes activated, and be an inspired leader. This was really emphasizing going out in the sun, going out and enjoying the time that's because in the north anyway, we're heading into our fall season, so temperatures are starting to drop a little bit. But the really emphasis with this card is saying be out in the sun. The sun helps us tap into and balance our masculine energy. It helps us activate the light codes that we have. Sometimes you'll download new ones. But it's also about just being able to shine. Being an inspired leader doesn't mean being bossy. It means being the type of leader that you've always wanted in others. So if you're wanting that leader who works beside you, if you're wanting that leader who inspires the greatness within you, be that person. Whether you're a leader or not is irrelevant. You can literally be the janitor mopping the floor, and if you hold those standards for yourself, people will notice, and you might be surprised the changes that happen. Because when you stand in your authority in that aspect, things change, and they change pretty drastically at times. So just be aware that this second week is about growth and stepping into your masculine energy, but also being outside and activating those light codes, because we download them quite frequently, to be honest with you, but we don't always know how to activate them. The sun can activate them just by being there. So something to think about is being out in the sun in the second week. Your message from Source is Earth Star Activation, Anchoring, Grounded Action, and Isis. So you are working with the divine masculine energy, balancing it with the sun, but then you're also tapping into the energy of Gaia, of Isis, of the divine feminine, and you're bringing the energy from up above down. You're activating those light codes and you're anchoring them into your system. The message from Source is saying, stay focused on grounding, bringing the stuff in, and then when you ground something, you allow it to be manifested into the world. So as those light codes come in, as that balancing effect occurs, because you have the masculine and the feminine, so you're coming back into a balanced state the second week, what is it you're trying to create? Is it some new business venture, a new modality in your healing arts? Is it a new writing project? What is it you're trying to create? And allow these balanced energies to support that and bring it forward. You're grounding your energy into the physical realm. You're grounding these ideas and concepts and what you're wanting to build into this now moment in the second week. So let's look at what the tarot has to say for a lesson or a challenge in this second week of September for our water's energy. And we have the Queen of Chalices. So this is actually more the Pisces energy in the water, but we're still dealing with the water domain. So the Queen of Chalices here is saying, you've done a lot, you've accomplished a lot, and it's okay to take a break. The challenge with the energy that's coming forward is you're going to feel a little bit, you're going to feel motivated with this masculine and feminine, especially when they come into balance. You're going to have that momentum build, and you're going to want to make everything happen all at once. The Queen of Chalices is saying, that's fine, you've done a lot of work. Don't forget the self-care, and don't forget to allow yourself to rest. That doesn't mean sleeping all day, but it does mean get 6 to 8 hours of sleep if you can, if your mind and body will be quiet for that. But just take the time to do something fun as well. You're building these projects, but take time and play with the kids. Go walk your dog, play with, throw the ball, something along those lines, so that you are staying focused on what you're building, but also allowing for the entertaining times, because that is just as recharging as taking a nap in some cases. So let's move on to our third week, Guide or Guardian. And we have, set that deck down, the Earth Dragon clears your path and the land around you. Stay grounded, be ready to serve. Stuck energy is clearing, moving forward in life. So what you've done in the second week is you have worked on balance, you've worked on kind of solidifying the things you're trying to build, and you really have started to activate this manifestation energy, your vibrations moving into an aligned state because everything's more balanced. The Earth Dragon is saying, keep working on that manifesting. When your vibrations are lining up, it allows the manifestation to become a physical thing, because it doesn't matter what it is in the universe, it starts as a vibration and then densifies into the physical. And the Earth Dragon is saying, let's open the floodgates, let's open this and clear this path so that you can actually do this. The second week was about finding a new balance, readjusting things that may be a little bit off, and activating more of who you are. In this third week, it's about, now it's time to put a little bit more effort into it. Effort does not mean physical all the time. It can. You might be inspired work, and that's amazing when it happens. So pay attention to that as well. Just like with the I-Ching said, this month is really about tapping into signs, symbols, and omens, your intuitive guidance. So working with that energy in this third week looks to be important. We are working with the message from Source. It is the Thoth or Toth light codes, and it's light initiation, great teacher, awakening, divine magic. Thoth is the Egyptian god of knowledge. Nothing new under the sun because he's already seen it and he's recorded it. He's also the guide to the Akashic record. So if there's things that you're looking for and you're not quite sure how to handle it, talking to Thoth is a good way to help activate, bring that energy in. And it may not show you the whole path out, but it may help you understand your next steps. The Earth Dragon is helping you ground, anchor, and develop the things into the physical world. Thoth is helping you access the divine wisdom and knowledge to actually put these into play. Just one second. So really tapping into the energy of the Earth Dragons and the Thoth light energy is a good way to move through this third week, because it could be a little bit, just because you're bringing things in and your balance is fresh. When you first reset a balance, that's when it is kind of the least stable. So you want to make sure that this week you're really staying focused on that grounding, you're really staying focused on tapping into your intuition and the higher light codes so that you can hold that balance a little bit longer. And don't feel bad if the balance bounces. There are weeks, sometimes days, where you'll literally ping back and forth every hour on the hour, and it has nothing to do with, oh, you're not spiritual enough. It's life's coming at you, and you have to try to compensate on the fly. So be aware that that is part of, living, and that could be the challenge in this third week as well. So we're tapping, our challenge or lesson is the Seven of Pentacles. We still have a lot of movement, but they're also saying don't get too tied up into your senses, your sensual nature. This is not a time to, that's weird, they just showed me Dionysus. Not a time to fall into Dionysus's trap. We'll go with that. Because this week is something you're building, you're growing, so you do want to stay here. You don't want that escapism coming in again from the first week, but it's not as intense, because they're also saying that the frivolity that you may feel in this week is going to come from a urge to spend or financially not do the best options. So in this third week, really pay attention to the financial aspects of things, because there may be this urge just to overspend. You're working with Earth and Thoth, so you're grounding, anchoring, working with wisdom, and so your challenge lesson for this third week is to, not get too sensual, not get too into the Dionysian traps and pitfalls, and that includes just spending to feel good. Don't do that in this week. Really focus on the stuff that's important. So let's look at your guide or guardian for the fourth week here. And we have Thor's red, black, and gold dragon, protecting you in times of change. A time of rapid transition and transformation. Relax, you are safe. So everything that's been building through this month is going to come to a culmination in this fourth week. You have the red, black, and gold dragon. So the dragon itself is very powerful. The color patterns are very intense. So this fourth week, you have a very intense guide or guardian coming forward, because as you have manifested, as you've worked through clearing things out, finding new balances, you've also activated this other aspect of your life, which is a little bit more of intensity moving forward. Intensity is not always a bad thing, but it could be a little bit off-putting, especially when you are in too much into your emotionals at this time. So pay attention to that. Really tap into that grounding aspect from the third week, and work with Thor's red, black, and gold dragon to help you navigate the path forward. Just because it's intense doesn't mean you can't handle it. Just because it's intense doesn't mean it's bad. Sometimes intensity comes from almost too much of a good thing, and that's where this Thor's dragon can be beneficial for you. We have a lot of activations this month for water. We have the Soul Star activation, fulfilling soul contracts, remembering who you are as the message from Spirit. In the third week, you are tapping into wisdom with Thoth. You were activating that knowledge. You were bringing in those light codes. In this one, you're bringing in your Soul Star. Your Soul Star is approximately 12 inches above your crown. It is where the Merkaba star, that little guy right there, resides. It is also your connection to the Akashic records and your bloodline history. So it's who you've been in the past life. You really want to, when you work with this one, be open to the experiences of the past. Sometimes there's knowledge of the future that will come forward. So as you're working through this last week, you have this intensity with the Thor dragon, because you've got all these things coming forward. The Soul Star activation is just something to support. If you already have it active, work on supporting it. Maybe take some meditation time and just focus on that chakra. If you've never worked with it before, ask your guides and guardians to help you understand, open, and experience it for the first time. That way you can start to build up. We're moving into a higher dimensional energy, setting up through the universal shift that is occurring within our solar system anyway, and that is shifting out of the third dimension into the fifth dimension, basically setting us up, if you follow the raw teachings, for the fourth density harvest. So there is a great deal of energetic movement in the galaxy, in the universe, and our planet, shifting into these higher frequencies. And doing so, you're activating the new chakras. We originally had 7. That's our third dimensional chakra system. When you shift into the fifth, this 5 new chakras come online, so you have a total of 12, and that's where the Soul Star is. That is one of the new 5th dimensional chakras, and that's going to help with ascension. You can work with Archangel Metatron to work into that chakra as well. So this last week is really going to be almost a fast track for you, but it's not going to be something you can't handle. It's just could be a little more intense than what you're used to. So let's look at a lesson or challenge from the tarot. And we have the Hermit. Wisdom, teaching, solitude. The lesson here, or the challenge, is even though you have a lot of this intensity going on, especially in your spiritual world, the Hermit card is coming forward as a lesson or challenge, saying, do not pull away from the world. You've done the work to manifest into the world. You've done the work to show up in the world. This last week could be a little intense, and you may have the urge to hide. And the Hermit is saying, you can take the time to be alone for a while, but that's not why you're here. That's not why you've done the work this month. You've done the exercises, you've done the manifestations. The universe has assisted you through this, and it's time to step out into and be part of the world itself. And so that's the energy that's coming through for this last week as a lesson or challenge, is even though you're going to want to pull away, the Hermit is saying you can do that for a time, but that's not your purpose. Your purpose is to be in the world. That's why you have had the experiences this month that you've had. So with that, we'll wrap this up. If these messages resonated for you, please drop a like and a comment on the video. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. If you're interested in any a private reading or any of the other services that I offer, you can find out more in the link to my website in the description, mysticjenmara.com. I hope you have an awesome rest of your month, and let me know what you think. Even constructive criticism is a good thing as long as it's respectful. With that, I will let you go and have a great month of September.